Well, good morning. In between projects here, I still haven't put my printer stand up in the office. I gotta figure out a time when I can do that, because that means taking all of that gazillion wires and everything out from, it's just like a wad of wires behind my computer, and yanking that all out and then trying to rehook everything up. And it just becomes a big thing. So hopefully tomorrow I'll have some time to move that up there. But I'm starting to think about this weight bench that I want to make. And a lot of you are commenting that maybe I could make the weight bench that has storage, but also has like the lid that lifts up for the incline bench. And after giving it a lot of thought and looking at different ones, on Instructables, there is this one. And I rarely make a project based on somebody else's plans, but I mean, why reinvent the wheel? This guy has, I think, the kind of the perfect DIY weight bench. There's some things I'm going to change about this. Instead of using 4x4s, I'll probably use 2x4s, maybe laminate them together. They're a little easier to get, cheaper, and just as strong. And I think I can adjust the joinery a little bit on this, but I'm just basically going to go with this plan, and I'll make sure you guys know who this is and where you can find his actual step-by-step plans over on Instructables. And of course that still leaves the problem with storage for my dumbbells, but I don't know, I mean, I can still keep them underneath this bench. The bench itself is going to take up some space someplace, and I think what I might do is just make kind of like a little box to go over top of my dumbbells. You know, like those bells that you see in movies where like fancy rich people eat, and then they have the food is covered. I've never eaten like that. But anyways, there's like the dome, you know, and they take it off and there's food under it. I want to do that with my dumbbells, and just to keep the sawdust off of them, because the plastic bags are kind of hard to stuff under them. And so anyways, that's what I may do with those. I just had another idea, because I can never leave well enough alone. Instead of just the box that drops over those, because sawdust might still creep underneath it, right? Why don't I make like just a flat platform with some casters under it, and then put the dumbbells on that, and then the big box dome would go over that, and then it could clip down, and that would keep the sawdust out of it. And then I could roll it around, because it's 100 pounds of dumbbells, and so that would be easy to push it out of the way. I'm gonna do that next. I think I'll do that before I do the weight bench. Maybe. See what I mean? Here's the problem. This plastic bag is kind of hard to get around there, and sawdust still finds a way in there. So I think what I need to do is just measure this out and figure out what size that box needs to be. 19 by 19 would work. That would just be a square. That's the plan. Oh, and then this. The 10 inches would be fine. That'd be plenty of extra space. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I just finished the workout from hell. I have been doing virtual workouts using Zoom, so my trainer can see me here as I'm working down here on the floor. It works out really well, and still wears me out. So this is the basic box I've come up with. This is pretty no frills, nothing fancy here. I've just got some boards down here on the bottom, and then this is a 3/4 inch board on top of those. This will be the top piece here that the whole thing just will lift straight up like that. And these are all 1/2 inch plywood boards that are just rabbited together. The only thing I haven't figured out yet is how I want to latch this piece to this board down there. I'm not sure if that 3/4 inches is wide enough for a latch, but I should be able to get these plans together pretty quickly, because they're just going to be for myself. I don't have to make them for giving it away, because nobody else is going to want to make something this specific. But hopefully by building this, you know, you can pick up some techniques or, you know, tips, or just enjoy watching me build something. A lot of times how I make a project is dictated by the materials that I have on hand. So take a look at my plywood here. I've got a big chunk of 3/4 inch plywood that's left over from the printer stand. I've got plenty of 1/4 inch plywood, but I don't see And I see a little piece of 1/2-inch plywood down here. And that's it. I mean, I could use the 1/4-inch plywood for that box part, but I'd rather have it a little bit more substantial just because I'm going to be pushing it around a lot. So I'll need to pick up a little bit of 1/2-inch plywood, but I don't need a lot. Usually on a small project like this, I just like to get those little handy panels that they're called. They come in like 24 by 48 or 48 by 48 inch sheets, and they're really nice Baltic birch plywood. They're a little bit more expensive, but I think it's worth it. The only other thing I'm not sure if I have enough of is these boards for the bottom frame to give it that extra support. It's going to be 100 pounds on this thing, so I want it strong. But, you know, I don't want to use my oak boards for this. And really, I could just cut plywood. I don't think that these boards are going to give it any extra strength or anything, so I'll just cut plywood strips, or maybe just a couple of pieces of plywood with a rabbet around. That might work too. I don't know. The only other thing I'm going to need are some casters, and I've got some extras down here because I put everything on casters in my shop these days. I've got these really big, huge locking ones, but I don't need that. It's too big. And I've got these kind of medium size. I'm not sure what size that is, like 1.5 inch or so. The problem with these is that they're not swivel casters. So I've got these 1-inch casters. They're pretty tiny, but I'll bet each one of those should support 25 pounds, I would think. So I could probably use all 4 of those. So I think that's the plan. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll get back to start making that dumbbell bell.